Hi, Katie. My name is Charles Gary, and I'm here to discuss my strongest dispositions that I possess and what I think future educators should possess as well. So, for me personally, my strongest dispositions would definitely have to be my professional conduct and my respect for the diversity of others. I chose these two things because, one, I tend to hold myself to a very professional standard. It's just something I've kind of done all my life. I watch others around me who may slack off on certain things or who don't think that their professionalism actually makes a difference. But I believe that it does in all aspects of life, all walks of life, not just in a school role as an educator or, a supervisor at work. I think in general, we should all hold ourselves to a certain standard, and I tend to do so. I chose my respect for the diversity of others because myself personally, growing up, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So, growing up in a city that I come from, you meet so many different people from different walks of life, different cultures, different languages, people who dress different, who, come from different countries. And they don't always get the respect that they deserve, especially in nowadays, situations with not just political, but just in America itself. And I've always had a respect for the other cultures. And growing up in a city, in my schools, I see people and meet friends and make friends with people from all different walks of life. And sometimes we don't always respect those people. And I think to put it blatantly, it's just not right. It's unfair. It's unfair that someone should be treated differently because of where they come from or how they were raised. I wouldn't want anybody to look at me differently because I'm from a big city, as opposed to a small town in the country, or as opposed from another country somewhere else from another big city. I think that all people should be treated equally, and I can respect that people aren't going to talk the way I talk. People don't look the way I look. They don't dress how I dress, and I think that's a big thing. I think it's going to be a big deal for future educators, especially after this year, 2025. Future educators, I think, will run into a lot of, not problems per se, but a lot of different situations with having students from different walks of life who may speak a different language or who may actually learn differently than others, because the learning curve is always different for different students. A couple things I need to work on would definitely be I'll be honest, my dedication and my high expectations. I lost my mother. I lost my mother recently, and a lot of times, like in the group forum, the discussion forums, I speak about losing my mother because it's a big thing to me when you lose your mother. But I promised my mom that before she passed, that I would try my best to further my education. When I first had the idea to enroll in college and online school, she was so excited about it. So that's kind of my biggest motivation, and that keeps me dedicated. But sometimes I need like an extra, that extra push on the tush just to really keep me going, which is something that I'm working on internally. I think it starts internally before you can get the motivation from anyone else. I believe that we have to motivate ourselves. You have to actually want to be better to actually be better. I think all future educators should show a sense of professionalism. The professional conduct should definitely be there. Future educators should always be fair, of course. Speaking back, like I said, about the diversity of others, I think fairness and professional conduct are two of the major things that are going to make the biggest difference in the future of our children. Whether your educator is teaching elementary school, middle school, high school, college level, even the younger generation needs to be able to look up to someone or see. If you're going to spend time in class every day with someone for 8 or more hours, they need to be able to see someone who shows fairness, someone who exemplifies fairness, someone who exemplifies professional conduct, not just for the sake of them passing the class and making it to the college level, to a collegiate level, but just to have better humans, to have better citizens, to just have better people. I think everyone should hold themselves to a certain professional standard and, be fair to others. And, I look at my own children. I have small school age children in elementary school, and every day they come home and they tell me about their teachers that they spend 8, 9 hours with every day. How the teacher did this or the teacher did that, or hey, Miss Jones did some cool things with her hair today. So if my children look up to these teachers, these educators every single day, I would pray to God that these educators are holding themselves to the right standard and that they're being fair to my children and to other children, all other parents' children as well in the classroom. I think that's going to be the biggest, like, not deal breaker, but make or break a classroom in the future. I can still remember back when I was in school. History is my subject. I love it to death. I can still remember the way that some of my teachers carried themselves, and even as an adult now, it played a certain aspect. It played a part in my life, and kind of helped create me to be the man that I am today, and to actually take up enrolling into college and wanting to make a better future for someone else's kid. So I hope that in the future, one day some student can think back when they're an adult about being in Mr. Gary's class and having that same effect on them like my teachers had on me, by holding themselves to a certain amount of professionalism and being fair while doing so. So, thanks, Katie.